Welcome to Loving Beyond the I Do podcast. This power couple is building stronger marriages one day at a time. Talking about real issues on love, relationships, and marriage longevity. Let's break down the barriers and engage in healthy conversation with your hosts, Jason and Tina Marie. Take a seat and buckle up because things are about to get real.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Loving Beyond the I Do podcast.
With your hosts, Jason and Tina Marie.
That's me.
Hey, so guys, we want to say welcome and thank you again for listening to another episode of Loving Beyond the I Do. We really appreciate that. Let me ask a couple things of you guys. If you could please share with share with some couples that could use some of the information that we have.
Some relationship good stuff, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Just share.
Yeah, just share the podcast.
It doesn't even matter if it's couples, just share. People who are looking to get married, people who are looking to be in relationships. As I said before, our podcast is geared towards just making marriages work, relationships, but it's any relationship. This is advice that you can use whether you're married, single,
looking for someone,
whatever.
Working on yourself, so it's across the board.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, please share it, and also subscribe to it if you haven't already, and leave us a review at Apple Podcasts.
How do they subscribe, Jason?
How they subscribe to go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're everywhere you can get a podcast.
Or you can subscribe on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I was going to get to that next.
Oh, my
But
bad.
you beat me to it. But that's okay. That's all right.
Okay.
But also, we're also on YouTube under Loving Beyond the I Do is the YouTube channel. Go there and subscribe as well, and leave us a comment.
Subscribe, and hit the like button, right? Push that like. That's the
That's
like.
right.
Push that thumb.
That's
Push
right.
that
So
like.
you can get those notifications and things of that nature. All right. So today we're going to talk about something that's everyone is using, which is technology. And we're going to talk about technology interference.
Especially now since the pandemic is over. And during that time, a lot of us had to get tech savvy, right? So we were used to going into the office or going to work, and then we had to switch gears and change the way we do things, and technology became a very pertinent part of our everyday experiences. So during that time, even before, but especially now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because technology was, we know that technology definitely played a part in some relationships as far as finding relationships online or
Sure. There have been some good benefits.
right. So just, but technology as it evolves and becomes more center stage in our lives, it has also become a little interference, a little problem, right?
Yes.
In more than one ways.
Yes. And we just wanted to make sure that you guys could
More
kind of.
than one way, in more than one way. Okay. So
Yeah. So you can understand when you are interfered by something, it disrupts the flow of your relationship, and that's what we're talking
and
about.
things change.
And things change.
We notice when things in our relationships change, and we may not know exactly what it is or why, but we definitely know when there's a change in our relationship.
Right, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to let you know that maybe it's this, maybe it's that. So this is just one of the things.
Becoming aware of
right.
the way that technology today can play a big part in interfering
It could be
in our relationships.
Right, it could be affecting you now, and you just don't know it. But once we run through some of these things, you go like, maybe we do some of these things. Maybe maybe I could cut back on this or cut back on that. All right.
Absolutely.
So what constitute technological interference? Electronic devices, computer, Zoom, because everybody's on Zoom.
Absolutely.
And we always say we're using it for work. Social media, and then just dependency upon that device. Always having it in your hand.
Telephone.
Yeah, your telephone mainly.
Right? The thing we seem to cannot.
We can't put it down.
Absolutely.
Hey, you know what? We'll be late for work. Boy, we'll be halfway to work and we forgot our phone. We'll turn around and go get that thing.
Right.
So we won't go
With
anywhere
everything.
without that phone.
Right.
Yeah, it's
So-
like we totally lost. That causes an issue. So if you feel that attached to your phone, that's number one. That's where one of the issues come in.
I don't know anyone's phone number. So if I leave my phone, the only person I can call is Jason. I might
That's
be
all
able
you
to
need,
call
baby. I'll be
one
there
of
for
my
you.
sons. My sisters, both of them changed their phone numbers years ago, but
and we used to pride ourselves on that, being raised, you knew telephone numbers, addresses, all of that stuff. Now I don't know anything.
Yeah. So that's a big thing. So,
first thing I say, I'll lock you in.
Right, exactly.
And that's it.
Right. So, but getting back to it, so we wanted to tell you that, or we want to talk about the way that technology can interfere in your relationships. And I think some of the things that we can become aware of is that you start to feel lonely, right? You start to feel disconnected from your partner.
Right.
So sometimes when we are having issues in our relationships, even before technology. Sometimes when we're having issues in our relationship, the first thing we do is we go search outside of our relationship to make it better.
Right, to get answers.
Not to get answers, to make us feel better.
Oh,
to make
okay.
us feel better. So we're not looking for answers.
To verify how we feel is correct?
No, so I'm not happy with you, so I'm going to go find myself happy online.
Gotcha.
See, so this is
it's more of a selfish thing.
So no, it's more of a person thing. It's what we do, right? So if I'm unhappy with you and you and I are not communicating, I'm just going to find something else to put
make
my
you happy.
time into.
Right, I got you.
Right, so I'm going to go online, do shopping, do this. I'm now online, passing my time instead of trying to work on my relationship with you.
Right.
I'm just going to do something without you.
Right. So now we're constantly drifting away without really saying anything or doing anything. We're just drifting because you're spending your time, or people spend their time online doing whatever they need to do, whether it be shopping, searching for whatever. Because you can lose hours online just searching.
Or on social media, right?
Oh,
Which is nothing wrong. We just have to put things...
There's a time and a place for everything.
Exactly. But what we're saying is, if you start to feel lonely, if you or your mate start to feel lonely, and then what you want to do is you're trying to fill that gap of loneliness by occupying your time outside of the relationship, on social media, on your computer, texting or communicating with other people, email, Zoom, chat links, chat rooms, or whatever. So now you're not connecting with your partner. That lonely feeling that you had, you're now not feeling lonely anymore, but that what has filled that void is not your mate. Right. It's something else or someone else that is now taking the place of your mate, right? So this is what we have to be careful of, right? This is what you have to be careful of, is that when we find ourselves, or when you find yourself in a place of feeling lonely or not connected to your partner, don't look outside of your partner to fill that gap. You have to ask yourself, why am I feeling lonely? What is happening either with me or with my mate that we're not connecting, right?
Yeah, right. Why have we drifted apart?
So that's another thing. So the loneliness becomes that you're not connected.
Right.
So you're no longer connected. Because of technology,
it's easy to fulfill that human desire to interact with people.
With someone, exactly,
right.
Exactly. But, where you and I, when we first started dating, a lot of my communication with you was via the phone, right? So
yes.
I would call you, or I would text you, or I would email you. And now we're not connected. And that should be another clue. So now I'm not texting you as much.
Right.
I'm not calling you as much. And when we call, we pretty much just, hey, if you talk with your partner, because sometimes we can go the whole day and never call our spouse.
Right.
We just wait till we get home, right?
Right.
So it's always...
Or it's that little small interaction in the morning, and then we're gone all day from work.
It's the connection when you're not together. So
right.
You're not feeling connected, and you're not connecting through that technology, right? Throughout the day. You're not connecting, right? Yeah.
And it doesn't take much to do a text or something, just to say, hey.
So, but we're talking about when you're not feeling connected, right? So another thing is you're feeling lonely.
Yes.
Right? And then you try to fill that void outside. Another thing is you're not connected. And you can tell when you're not connected, right? So you're not connecting, you're not communicating those things. And then, so what do we do? When we're lonely and we're not connected, what do we do?
Then we start attaching to other people, finding new friends.
Exactly. Again, filling that void with someone who makes us feel alive. Someone who makes us smile, even if it's just communicating. Sometimes we're just communicating with people,
and
just
it could
to
be
communicate.
innocent. I mean, you're just interacting with the person.
And the
It's no
thing
big
is,
deal.
It doesn't matter if it's innocent or not. The issue that we're having is that we're becoming more and more disattached
From
to
our
mate.
real life,
Right,
and
from
getting
our
caught
mate.
up in this technology life.
So now we are attaching ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and we're befriending, or we are becoming friends with other people. Now we're starting to create friendships.
Mm.
You know, and it sometimes we ask people, well, what happened? Well, I was just, chatting with someone and we became friends. And then what did we do? We shared our stories, right? We shared the things that, I'm not connecting
Now
with
we're getting emotional.
Now we're getting
Right.
emotionally attached
Yep.
to the person that we're chatting with.
Emotionally attached, electronically attached. Either way, we're getting attached to someone else outside of our relationship.
Someone or something else. Even if we're, doing games, right?
Yeah.
So we're spending a lot of our times online doing games. We are attaching to the people who we have commonness with, right?
Right.
So we
Right.
have
You're
something
building
in
a
common.
connection.
You're building a connection. So you and the person on the other end are now communicating about things that interest both of you guys, right?
Right.
Or like I said, now you're
That's what
you-
attracts people together too.
Exactly, exactly. So then we get to the point where we are,
Yeah,
Kinda went down.
we're withdrawing from the from our current relationship. So we're taking ourselves outside of our current relationship because we're so involved in this new relationship because it's new, it's exciting, and we share some of the same likes. So yeah, I'm gonna feel
So,
comfort in
exactly.
spending more
So people
time
now-
in
right,
this other
right.
relationship.
So you have to be careful when you start to become friends with other people outside of your relationship.
Right.
So that's something
And
that
so
you
the thing
need to
is
be-
because it's online, it seems even more innocent. It doesn't seem like it can actually flourish to anything or
Or we
become
don't-
anything.
The thing is, people think
It doesn't
you have
seem
to
real.
be in person. Like
Right.
that's the old way.
Right.
Right. And I don't even think people think that way anymore.
No,
right.
no,
That's
right.
the old way because right now, thousands and thousands of people have met online.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
dated
yeah.
and gotten
Gotten married,
Right.
yes.
So that's the old way of thinking. Oh,
Right.
if it's online, it's innocent. Now,
Right.
no. Now we know that. Well, first we were just sharing the issues that we had in our marriage or the issues that we had with our mate or our spouse. But what happens is that those intimate feelings that you have, you're sharing them with someone and it's drawing a connection between you all. So now you all, whatever you had in common or didn't have in common, because you have someone to confide in, and now you have someone who's going to listen, whereas your mate is not listening, right?
Right.
You're not connected to your mate.
I see where
You're
this is
feeling
going.
lonely, right? And
Uh-huh.
so now you're connecting. Now you're actually connecting to them emotionally.
Right.
So emotional connection is the most dangerous thing there is.
Yeah, it's closer than physical connection.
So, and because most of the time when we're looking for someone, we want to get that connection, right? We
Right.
wanna
Emotionally.
I felt an instant connection with them, and it makes you feel a
Right.
certain type of way.
And it's that-
and then the physical comes along,
Right.
right?
It's that connection. They get me.
Right.
Yeah, they get you because
Right.
now you connected emotionally.
Right. So, or you're their listening ear.
Right.
So anytime they have an issue about relationships,
Mm-hmm.
about their old mate, about their husband, about whatever,
Kids,
about
whatever.
work,
Family life. Yes.
about whatever.
The most intimate
anytime-
things about them.
their deep feelings. And
Yes.
whenever you are that lending person that you're lending ear and you're listening and you're giving advice,
Mm-hmm.
now that person is becoming emotionally attached to you.
That's right.
You are becoming their emotional sounding board, which means that they know that whenever they are emotionally unstable, they can call and attach to you, right?
So what happens is once you start doing all that, you stop communicating with your spouse.
Most of the time.
Most
right?
of the time,
and that's
right?
why we do
Well,
it.
I mean, it's little to no communication, or you'll talk
Right.
about the things that's necessary in your relationship, but not the things that you could expound on.
What do you mean?
Like you'll talk about, okay, well, this bill needs to be paid, or this needs to be here, or you need to be here.
Oh, you mean
but we
between you
won't
and
have
your
any
mate.
other
Oh, you
right
mean
with your
between you and
mate,
your
with your mate. But we
Okay.
won't have other conversations where we can just go deeply into feelings and things of that nature. It'll be more surface stuff, more business like things.
So we have to stop and think what is causing this disconnect between us?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's so, part of the big issue is that, like you said before, we are really attached to our phone.
Yes.
Right. And everything, I mean, even us, we have to sometimes remember to say, okay, so when we're doing this, let's put our phones down.
Yep.
And it's not that you're doing it on purpose. It's just that that's what our world
This is
has
our
become.
time, and we need to give a.
No, what I'm talking about is not that we are on our phone intentionally. It's just that that's the world that we live in now.
Yeah.
Everything we do is pretty much connected to the phone.
Exactly.
It used to be a time where before I couldn't check my emails unless I went to my computer.
Right.
And my computer wasn't attached to my hip. Right. It wasn't attached to my
So
hand.
you're always checking
It
email.
wasn't
You're
attached to-
always
Right. So
text
you're-
messages. You
Absolutely.
name it.
So if someone is thinking about you or want to talk to you, they send you a text. The first thing you do is you check your text, right?
Right.
Or they call you.
Right.
And so then we answer. So it's like we are making ourselves available to whomever, whenever they either text, email, or call. And then when your spouse needs you or your mate needs you, you don't have that instant availability to them.
Yeah, it's kind of like being in a conversation with your mate. Then your phone, you either get a text or an email or something, and then you pick it up, and then you.
Now you're off to another
right.
thing.
So you're off to
Right.
another thing, and they still talking to you. You're like, yeah, I'm listening, but you're not really listening because
Right.
you're focusing on that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we have to stop allowing our devices to interfere in our relationships. And we have to become aware of that. Not only that, so we do know about porn, right? So porn was a very big thing when technology came out because it was so easy to get to.
Right. You didn't have to go
So-
get a magazine. I mean, like you could just get it
So
right in the house.
Now, porn is not even on porn sites anymore. Porn is just anything. You scroll through social media, half of the people on there are wearing
Close to nothing.
close to nothing. Close to nothing. So whether you are female or male, the thing is that you don't have to go on porn sites anymore. Now, if you want hardcore porn, then that's something different.
Right.
But for the most part, you can be on social media, scrolling through pictures,
Right.
looking at other men, other women, looking at them, engaging with them, talking with them, and that becomes a distraction from your relationship. You're now wanting or craving something outside of the partner that you have. Why? Because we're now looking at other things
Right.
that's getting our attention instead of what we want, which makes us. So you're one, feeling disconnected.
Right.
Two, you're feeling lonely. Now you find yourself attaching to other things that
Other things and now other people. You're looking at other images.
Exactly, that now arouse you in different ways.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So then what happens? You stop being intimate with your spouse.
So if you find yourself
Did I catch you off guard there? Because
no, it was sounds outside.
Okay.
So now one of the other things that you can look to is once you start pulling away and finding attention in other areas in technology, right? Whether it's
Right.
your phone, whether it's your computer, then another red flag is when you and your mate stop being intimate with each other.
Yeah.
So when the sex stops, or the sex now it's once every so many weeks or
Right.
days, and the
And then
intimacy is gone. The
right. And it's really
connection
not
is
that
gone.
great when you do have it.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's kind of like going through the motions.
Right.
And sometimes we do it just to maybe, I don't want to say satisfy the other person, so
But
that
it's
they
kinda
don't
like
so
that,
that they
yeah.
don't feel like you're cheating, right?
Right,
Because
right.
now you have
You spend so much time on this, and
Right,
you do that, and
right.
you don't give me any time, right?
so you're not, even though you're not outside of the house,
right.
or even though you're not like physically with the other person or
Right.
physically doing something, you are actually engaging in your technology in a way that is the same thing.
That's
That is
really
the
interfering
equivalent.
with your relationship.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Which can be
Detrimental.
viewed- absolutely.
Yes. Yes, it can. It can
Can
definitely.
be as a huge distraction or something that can make or break the relationship if it does not stop, if we don't become aware of
right.
what
If
we're
you don't
doing,
get a hold of it.
or
Right.
if we don't see how it's affecting our relationship.
Right.
So lots of times
Because it's always work. I have to deal with this text. I have to deal with this situation. It's always something. And then, they always go down this rabbit hole called social media. And then once you go down that hole, you spend hours just scrolling with, thumb scrolling through social media. Because, I get caught up sometime. I'm going to look at one thing.
And we're looking, and most of the time, we're looking on social media if we're disconnected from our mate as a form of entertainment.
Yeah.
As a form of connecting, as a form of sharing, right? So you can go on some person's page that you've never known, look at their picture and make a comment, right?
Right.
Wow, you look beautiful, or wow, I would like to know you, or wow, let's connect. That person has no idea who you are.
Right.
And so instead of you putting your time, energy, and effort and wondering what's making you and your mate disconnect, or making you feel that loneliness where you need to search outside of your relationship, we need to become aware of the things that we're doing and own up to it.
Yeah.
Right. So lots of times we want to first
like that's not an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about, baby. That's not an issue. Right.
Exactly.
I'm on my phone for work. I'm
on my phone for whatever, right?
Right. I'm just checking email
or whatever it is. We don't. Sometimes we don't even say it. We just on our phone and we're making excuses that.
But the bad thing,
the other person is in the wrong, right?
Right.
So,
but the funny thing is, I mean, we've been out at dinner, and people are sitting at the table, and both of them are on their phone. Now they're out at dinner on a date, and everybody's on their individual phones
together, right?
I don't get that
because we feel as though even though we're in the same space, so we're sitting at the table together, but that person, they're sitting at the table together, and one person is involved in what they're doing and the other person's involved in what they're doing. Every now and then they will hold their head up and talk, and Jason and I will just sit back and look like, look at them. Yeah. Look how this is a time that you're supposed to spend together, but yet and still we still cannot put down our phones.
Right.
What is that important that you cannot spend 30 minutes to an hour with the person that you're at dinner with, giving them your undivided attention?
Yeah, I remember.
Why do we need to feel that we have to be, if we're going to miss a text or miss the latest social media news or whatever it is, because most of the time we're on social media, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
The thing is in moderation. Right. And if it's causing some distraction,
it's a time and place for everything. And if I'm at dinner with you, I need to be present with you.
If you're at dinner with your mate, then you need to be present with your mate.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, that's true.
So that person needs to be.
I was just saying it as far as for a friend.
Right.
If my friend is at dinner with his friend,
making you aware of where we can stop being disconnected.
Right.
Right. Making people aware of what is getting in the way of communication, what is getting in the way of intimacy, what is getting in the way of when we're disconnected with our mate. How that disconnection continues because we're not looking to each other to connect. We're looking to connect with someone else in another way.
I'd like for you guys to try something. Like if you're with your mate and you're scrolling through social media. Yeah, sure. If you're on your mate, this is only for YouTube because on audio they don't understand. Right.
Oh, okay.
So if you're on your phone and you're with your mate and they're talking to you and you're just scrolling, think about, why am I doing this and not being present in my relationship right now? Just stop and think about that for a second.
Why is this what I'm doing right now seem to be more important than the person who you are spending time with?
Right. So just stop and think about that for a second when you're in the act of doing it.
So many times we want people to listen to us, but we're not giving them our undivided attention when they're talking with us because now we are having that technology interference.
Right. And part of communicating is comprehension. So I can communicate with you, but you're not comprehending what I'm saying because you're not even listening to what I'm saying. But you say we're communicating.
So some of the things we would suggest if you find yourself in this situation, first thing is realize, how is it affecting my relationship? So if you are in right now at a place where either you're feeling disconnected with your mate, you're feeling lonely with your mate, or you don't feel the connection, the bond, the intimacy, the sex, whatever, the drive, the love, ask yourself, what could be the causes of that? And if technology has anything to do with that, ask, how is it affecting my relationship? How is it? What is it doing to it? What exactly is it? And what is its effect on our relationship?
I forgot one. Games.
Oh, yeah.
Games is another one. I mean, I'm not from the school of playing games.
I talked about gaming, connecting with people.
Oh, yeah, you did say that. Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and so we're going back and forth playing with strangers, right? Because that's how we play.
After a while, they don't become strangers.
Right. So it's just any form of technology that demands your attention majority of the time
from your current relationship or from your family.
And what it does is that now the person, your mate, begins to what is the word?
Pull away. Get emotionally attached.
Your mate gets upset because now you're doing that. You see, so now they have some type of animosity against what
Every
you're
time
doing.
you grab that device or you're
Absolutely.
on it. Sure.
So now they're upset with the fact that you're checking your email. They're upset with the fact that you're on your phone. They're upset with the fact that now you're playing games from 1 hour to 4 hours to 6
now
hours.
that builds distrust because then they want to look at your phone. What are you looking at? What you're always on this thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then what happens is that the first thing we want to do is we want to deny it.
Yeah.
We want to deny that there's nothing wrong. Well, what's wrong with me on my phone? Well, why can't I be on my phone? Well, if you're not connecting with your mate the way you're connecting with that phone, then there's something wrong.
Right.
So we have to
because you know when
become-
something's up.
We have to become aware of what we're doing, not what our mate is doing, but what we're doing. So if we're that individual that is spending a lot of time on our phone, whether it's for work or not, right? So I know we have, like I said, with the pandemic, a lot of us have been working from home. So if you're working from home and you're required to be available a certain amount of time, then you have to stop. You have to cut the clock off, right?
Right.
Just like when you were physically in an office, if you left the office at 4 o'clock, then you left the office at 4 o'clock. Unless it's an emergency, we have to stop allowing people from work to connect with us anytime they feel like they want to call us. What's an emergency to them needs to be an emergency.
Right.
Okay. So we have to stop allowing people to just interfere into our lives because that's what they have chosen for their lives.
Right.
Not everyone is in that situation.
That's true. That's
So
true.
when work ends, work ends. Not everybody is going to work 24/7.
Right.
And-
right.
and
And that's unhealthy anyway. That's unhealthy for you as an
Absolutely. So
individual
now
and
you're-
definitely for your relationship.
That person is wrapping themselves either in work because they have nothing else at home, or they're wrapping themselves in work because they're connecting with someone at work, and that is their excuse.
Right.
That is their excuse to connect to that person, emotionally, physically, sexually, whatever it is. That's their excuse. So they have to use work as their outlet.
Right. Right.
So becoming aware, looking for the signs, asking yourself what's happening and why is it happening.
Right. And then also trying to have a conversation, not really coming at the person, but just having a conversation and say, hey, listen, maybe during this time we can set aside an hour or two just with no electronic interference at all, just for us to sit down and talk or just be present with each other, whether we're watching a movie, having dinner, or just sitting around looking at each other.
And like everything we always talk about, let's start with ourselves first, right? Let's not go and point fingers at our mate because they're on their phone all the time. Because most of the time we're doing the same thing, right?
Right.
So we have to, one, start the conversation with, I know that we're both spend a lot of times on our phone, but right now I'm feeling a little disconnected.
Right.
So we have to find a way to communicate to our mate that is effective, that's going to help them, one, bring down their defenses so that it allows them to hear what we're saying and they're not defensive about it, and then it's all progress has stopped.
Right. Right.
So we have to find ways that getting that connection and communication back, right? Sitting down and having a conversation with your mate about the things that are going on, how you're feeling, and what could be the cause of it. Not what the other person is doing, but what is just happening in the relationship and how you feel, what your part in the whole thing is, and maybe how you guys can move forward and
Right. So you're saying
reconnect.
just like making a suggestion like, hey, maybe I'll just put my phone down for an hour and maybe we can just connect. I just want to talk with you. I just want to be here with you. Maybe we can just watch, like I said before, maybe we can just watch a movie. But if I just say that I'm just going to put my phone down and not interact, I'm not going to look at check email or anything like that. I'm just going to be here with you, whether we, at dinner time or whatever. That was one of my rules as the kids and stuff was coming up. No phones at the dinner table. Once we sat down for dinner, that was family time. That was it. I mean, it was just us. We could sit down and find out what's going on in each other's life.
Our priorities have changed, right? So the priority of being present with the person has changed. The priority is always being attached to our phone.
Oh yeah, now,
Right, so
now
we have
even
to-
more so now.
And then people think because that's the way they do things that everybody should do things.
Right.
So you should, if I call you, you should answer. If
Right.
I'm texting you, you should be available.
Right.
No, everyone is not attached like that.
No.
But you have to recognize when people are boundaries again, right? When people are making you become attached to your phone, which is making you become disattached to your mate.
Right.
So a lot of jobs are now requiring you to call in and do this, right? Be on Zoom. It doesn't mean that they have control over your personal life.
After hours,
You still have to set those boundaries.
Right. Yeah, work hours is work hours.
Even
so
during
yeah.
work hours,
Right.
Even when you're at work, you still had certain boundaries that your employer did not cross. You have to keep those boundaries even though you are at home.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So just finding ways to reconnect, recommunicate, and bring these things up and becoming aware of that. Right? So becoming aware of the things where technology plays a part. Am I now taking the frustration of my relationship not working and now going to other places to fill the void of what's going on in my relationship? Right? Being able to talk about it. So if your phone is the first thing you pick up as soon as you get up in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And the last thing you put down right before you close your eyes. And
Come
it's
on
in
now.
your hand.
You
and
talking about it now.
And it's in your hand 22 hours out of the 24.
Yeah.
Then maybe you should ask yourself, do I need detox
Right.
from technology?
Right.
My name is Tina, and
Yeah.
I need to detox
From my technology.
right.
I need
right.
to detach from my phone,
Exactly.
my iPad.
So
car.
ask yourself, what is on that phone? What email? What social media? What is so important that the first thing you have to do in the morning is pick it up?
Yeah.
What did I miss? What am I missing? Who do I need to contact with?
And everything on social media isn't real anyway. You know that. But somehow we get sucked into it to believe in it.
It
and then
doesn't
after
even
a while,
matter if it's real or not.
I know, but
It's
you
just-
get
it's
sucked
ju-
into it to
it's just
it
like you
becomes
said.
your reality.
Right. You're wanting things, you're wanting a relationship with someone that
Right.
you don't even know, or
Right.
you're finding yourself fantasizing about someone other than your mate, or just you're consuming, all of your time is being consumed by your phone, by technology, and your mate is being left out. So this is what we have to be aware of when we're talking about how technology is interfering in our relationships.
Right. So what we might need to do to get around all that is maybe just connect with our mate more, like periodically through the day. Periodically through the day. Talk to our mates. Text our mate. Just do a check-in. Hey, babe, how you doing?
So when we communicate, if you know that you're that person that you and your mate are not talking as often as you used to, or you're not as intimate as you used to, or you feel some type of disconnection in the process of talking and speaking, maybe that's one of the things that you guys can talk about. Okay, so every hour we're going to try to connect with one another. I'll send you a picture. You send me a picture, a nice picture, right? I'm at work.
It's nice.
Whatever.
It's nice if it's between you two.
Well, I don't know. But anyway, so you guys choose what picture you want,
choose
right?
what picture. We're not going to tell you what to send.
Right. You can send whatever you want, depending on where you wanted to go tonight. But so just making sure that you are connecting to your mate instead of outside of your relationship.
Right.
Instead of trying to send that hitting that like button on every
Yeah.
picture that comes across your screen, try to make sure that you're connecting. Try to limit your exposure to technology.
Yeah, and like your mate. It's like spending time with that person. We talk about you being at work or being away. You guys may be still working at home and be in the same household and not really communicating.
And so technology is like really just taking up a whole bunch of your time, and
Right.
and then when you're finished, you're once you disconnect from work, if you're working,
Right.
if you're on Zoom or whatever, and
Yep.
once you disconnect from work, then you're still disconnected because now you're still in some form of technology, whereas you're not physically connecting to your mate at that time.
Yeah. So bring that to the forefront. Think about it when you grab your phone, when you're scrolling through social media, when you're checking emails, and you've been on there for over an hour. It's like, hey, maybe I need to sit this down and go have a
Or
conversation
you're
with my
finding
mate.
relationships on whether it be through text, you're finding
Yeah.
other forms of communication, and you're attaching to people
With other
you're building
people.
relationships, either emotionally or just friendships. That still takes a part,
Yeah.
right? Because if you're
Every
building a
outside relationship that you build takes away from your internal relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So those are some of the things we need to be aware of as we're in an age of technology and constantly moving towards age of technology. I mean, we're
Yeah.
constantly,
And it can benefit you.
Technology is constantly evolving.
Right. Now, technology can benefit your life. I mean, we stay in
Absolutely.
constant
Like we said.
communication, whether, hey, we're texting about this, we're texting about that, we're sending pictures for this, we're going here, we're planning out a lot of things throughout the day.
Just connecting.
Constantly connecting.
And then when we're with each other, we make sure that we try to put our phones down.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So I know my sisters can be a little imposing sometimes. So
that's
I know
okay.
that's an issue with you at times, right? If you and I are trying to do something.
Yeah, we'll be in the middle of a conversation, the phone ring. I'm like, you don't have to answer that, baby. Now, come on.
So
but that's okay. I mean, I get
that
it.
we're prioritizing the things that need to be prioritized.
Right.
Right. Not neglecting
either side.
other people.
Right.
Not neglecting either side, but having a happy medium of both outside relationships and your relationship with your spouse.
And no, you know what? Your relationship inside is the most important relationship. So understand that. Don't just take that, for nothing. Just say, hey, you know what?
Don't let other people take it for
don't
granted.
take it for granted, right?
Don't let other people take it for
Because you know what?
granted.
If you don't take your relationship serious, the person on the other line don't take your relationship serious, and they'll just take it for granted as well. So they have you out here twisted in the wind when this is the person that you love. So put the person that you love first in all that you do.
Or that you used to love and try to get that love back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like we said, a relationship takes a constant work in progress, and we have to become aware of the issues that are affecting our relationships and make sure that we're heading them off before it gets too far.
Right. This is a podcast that really just bringing something to light. It happens to us all the time. I mean, we're going through a pandemic, or we've gone through a pandemic. We spend a lot of time with technology. We're embracing technology, but sometimes technology is getting in the way of our relationship, our human relationships.
We're letting it get in the way.
Yeah, we are.
And we're
because
making
we're
excuses.
so engulfed into this
Right.
relationship with this technology. Oh, I have to get it. I have to understand it. Now that I have it, man, this is wonderful. Social media. I need to be on there. I need to be present on there.
The reach, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are able to see and do so much through technology.
And it is a lot of information.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is fascinating that, how much information you get back. And, you can just about touch anyone around the world. It is so, so wonderful. So, but let's not forget about that.
Let's keep it in its place.
That's right.
Keep it in its place. And let's become aware when those things that are creating a wedge between us that we're present in it, and we said, okay, this is how this is affecting our relationship, and this is what we need to do. And that starts with one, becoming aware of and communicating, and both partners owning up to it.
Yeah.
Owning up to it. So again, not just you, but the things you allow people to do. So if you are allowing your employer to pretty much have total control over what you do 24/7, then that's something, and your spouse is, doesn't like that, that's something that needs to be addressed. Right? So we have to draw boundaries for people, because if you don't, there won't be any.
Oh, they'll trample all over you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even when we have boundaries, they still
try to trample all over you.
them.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
So we have to stick to who we are, who you are as an individual, what you stand for, what your how important is your relationship to you. Mm-hmm. So I think that wraps up another episode. You have anything else you want to tell people?
No, I think that's it. Just always put your relationship first. Your intimate relationship, whoever you're in relationship with, just make sure you put it first.
Why are you frowning?
I'm not really frowning. I'm just being really serious about this situation here.
So just make sure that we're not letting technology take over our relationships.
That's right. We don't want any technological interference at all in our relationship.
Right? So let's, those are tools. And
That's right.
if there's tools for communication or whatever, make sure we're using them as a tool in our relationship as well as outside and everything else.
So true, babe.
All right. So as always,
we're in it to win it.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Lovin' Beyond the I Do podcast. Head over to iTunes to subscribe and leave a review. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Legendary Relationship, or visit our website at legendaryrelationship.com. Till next time, remember to make every day count.